Hey everybody, it's me, TheWritingScribe, and today, like last LEGOthon, I'll be running LEGO Harry Potter Years 1 through 4 free play %. Only difference is, we've shaved off well over 15 minutes since the last time this game was ran. We've incorporated a numerous amount of tricks, glitches, and the addition of 1-player 2-controller strats, which you'll see starting in probably 1-2, and thanks to the donations that have been met, after the free play run, we'll be running all bonus levels, which is a really wacky, like, 7-minute category that for someone who's not very good at it like me. But it's high fast pace that will be great to see for a snapshot of what replay story looks like. It has a lot of those kind of tricks with Lumos jumping, which is not, it's not optimal in free play just because of the speed tech. So you'll notice I'll pick Fang right off the bat. That's because he has the fastest move speed as well. I'm sure you all know by now, he has what is known as Fang jumping. You'll see what it is in the first level. So I'm going to give a countdown and I'll be good to go. 3, 2, 1, go. So right away you'll see that we use Fang for a little bit of weird tricks with a double jump there. And here's the first instance of Fang jumping, where we literally just climb over a wall. It's a little weird because the way that collision works in this game, if you jump into the wall as one character and switch to someone with an elongated hitbox, you get stuck in the wall, like Fang does, and then you can infinitely spam jump, allowing you to go to the game's programmed maximum height. You'll see that most of the levels have at least one Fang jump, if I can just remember off the top of my head. But actually no, sorry, the water level doesn't. But that's like right at the end. That has its own set of glitches and tricks, which we'll get there. I'll talk about when I get there. And that's already one level down. It goes really quickly, just because we're allowed everything we've possibly unlocked up to this point. Now, this is where you're going to see the first instance of 1-player 2 controllers, where we can use this pet spell and simply send whatever pet we desire right across the room. Cutscene skip, and I missed it. Shh. So what you can skip the troll peeping in like a peeping Tom on the toilets, but I'm still trying to figure out how exactly it works. I think it depends on where exactly you are in being relative to the troll, but when I know, I'll actually publish a full video on it. But this is your standard boss fight, 3 hits, 3 different ways, or 3 different cycles and phases. Okay, guys, I know I have a problem with my microphone. you can obviously see by this point how absolutely broken Fang is, because you can literally just go over anything you desire. Now, here in restricted sections, there's one in particular Fang jump that's wonky, because if you're not at the proper angle, the wall will just kick you back. Like that. So what you want to do is line yourself up to be parallel with the bookcase, and then you can just clip behind the door. Dumbledore gets blocked by the door, as per usual. I think I've only ever seen him get through like once or twice. For some reason, I want to say it's a PC exclusive glitch, because every time I played on Wii, he made it through the door. You'll also see that as I'm playing, the file selection looks very sparse. We want to be able to have Fang in our party, but not waste time menuing over to Fang. So we have the bare bones as possible to manage to have Fang every time. I'm gonna focus. Got it. We want to have Fang every time, but we want to save the time. So here I'm going to be going for what I call early trapdoor, because you can go above and out of bounds to clip behind Fluffy, who normally has a hitbox that will push you back. So instead of having to watch the trapdoor open and the camera pan back out, we can just dip right in. Here comes another use for 1 player 2 controllers, where we literally just jump through the wall. Honestly, one of the hardest things about this category, in my own personal opinion, is managing where you are in your character wheel as well as your spell wheel, because that's 2 different back and forths. You have to make sure you know what you're doing at all given times. It's tough, but with enough muscle memory, it's pretty manageable. That's 1 hit of Quirrell down. To think that year 1 is almost over by this point. It's astounding. It's unfortunate that Harass Me couldn't join me to make this the race that we hyped it up to be, but I'm going to do my best to properly showcase this game to its full potential, or at least what I know it to be. So what used to be a little bit of downtime actually in Flu Powder is now a really interesting, oh, really? There's a really interesting Accio clip in the Borgenberg section. It's really difficult to pull off, but when done correctly, it saves like 20 seconds, at least. So we're going to position Crookshanks under the lock, make sure that it's stuck. This is a very, very precise one, but just like that, we got it. Completely skipping the need to build a sword and kill the dragon. I really didn't know I had Ron on the character wheel, actually. So if done fast, Dobby should be just appearing right up there as the floor is breaking from the bludger. Sometimes Dobby likes to play soccer and just absolutely kicks that boulder into oblivion. Lay down for a bit, Fang. You need a break. So here in Hospital Wing, this is one of the 2 required potions we need to brew because this game works in both flags as well as, oh, why can I not think of it? This game has flags and, load zones. Oh my. So, unfortunately, I missed, Skeleton Skip. It's really sad because now we have to watch the skeleton do his little dance. Normally in runs, if you miss Skeleton Skip, it's almost a reset because it's a really hard time loss to come back from. So here in Crab and Will, we have one of the oldest skips that wasn't exactly the game breakingness that was pretty game breaking. However, it wasn't as applicable in all places, just because it's. You'll see when I get there. Instead of having to build the little golden dew to turn the taps off and gain entrance to the Slytherin common room, we just skip all of that. And unfortunately, we can't get to there early just because the potion here is yet another flag versus a load zone. So if done right, you can just clip right into the Slytherin common room that way. I usually like to be Death Eater here, just so I can clear out the common room so I've not interfered with the fish. Now, this fight is scripted, but at the same time it can be random. Like those silver pieces that Myrtle just threw, there's nothing you can do with them. You just watch as they sail helplessly. If you're on a good paced run, Myrtle's usually the one to start screwing you over because she'll just throw a bunch of pieces at you, or there's the infamous Myrtle glitch, where she'll close all her doors before you can even get a hit off on her. But it wasn't the best Myrtle fight, but it's definitely not the worst one I've ever had. If you guys in chat have any questions, I'd love to be able to answer them. However, coming up is another force segment, which are usually my choke points. Because for whatever reason, I can't ever have a good forest segment. In this one, we're hunting down Aragog, so those with issues with spiders, beware. Of course I get that first try. That's a stupid jump. Because if you're not angled right on it, you just get warped back. good that you're not afraid of spiders, because that's a big spider. So you'll see that I use the Death Eater just because I like a little bit of variety in my runs. I like to see a different color of the Wingardium, as anybody with dark magic has theirs red instead of purple pink. Now, here we are in just a auto-scroll section, practically. Probably the most boring minute of the run. So actually, if we have any donations, now would be the perfect time for them. That was actually a really good Aragog segment. That never happens, but when it happens, I'm already on a bad paced run. But here we're going to go for what I dub chamber skip. So what you do is you line your character up, and if you don't get it first try, you're not going to get it at all, so you may as well reload the level. It's faster, and it's way more consistent. So if I don't get it here, I'm in trouble. Yeah, I got it. So when Hermione starts glowing like that, you can just clip right through her. Nobody's afraid of snakes either. This is another big one. So what you'll see me doing is I'll be activating 3 different parts that would be regularly required to do a strength potion. You don't actually need to make the potion itself, you just need to make sure the pieces are on the floor. Because Fang automatically has strength. That should work. Because once all the pieces are technically active, the chain can be pulled. That should work. If I can get really... of course not. Oh, of course. If you make it over here before Tom Riddle, actually, the snake's actually invisible. So that's already the end of second year. We're already technically 50% through the run. Granted, it's probably the easier 50% of the run, because, in my opinion, the end of year 3 is an absolute gauntlet of tricks and movement. Look at this magnificent man. Anybody who's ever watched a run of mine will notice that I'll try to have the maximum number of Arthur Weasleys on the screen, just for the memes of it. He's such a great meme character. Like, look at that walk animation. He looks so happy. As far as individual tricks go, I want to say no, just because we've gotten to the point where the time save is so minuscule that we just go for the strats no matter what. And doing that, we can clip into carriage early. Using a little oversight from the developers, we can simply just walk under the lock. Any single strat that would be too difficult. Well, I guess what Harass Me does in first year, I refuse to do, just because I don't like audio crashing. There's certain not fang jumps, but Accio clips you can do that you'll be able to clip through just about anything, but at the risk of completely crashing your audio. I honestly use audio cues for a lot of the runs myself, so I'd prefer to know what I'm doing. Hogsmeade probably has some of the coolest movement in my opinion, just because you utilize all the characters on your spell wheel. You abuse some shenanigans with just how far certain characters can go, as well as the oversight and fang gliding, as I call it. Oh. Like, Fang's standard jump is ridiculously long. In this section, there's a certain Lumos jump that I'll highlight in all bonus levels that you can skip the Malfoy fight in replay, but it's brutally difficult. Now, this upcoming level in Mischief Managed, you blink, you miss it, is one gigantic fang jump. However, if you're playing co-op free play, you actually soft lock your controllers and have to restart the game because one of them will automatically desync. My theory is because of the different character icons floating around. That would be from the Marauders map. So that was kind of sloppy, but you understand where I'm saying, like, blink, you miss it. But upcoming is the only technical boss fight skip in the game. It's a willow skip, and it's a ridiculously hard Accio clip to pull off. 1, 2, 3. If I get it first try, I'm going to sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I didn't. But that's still a really good and fast one. Now you just gotta make sure that you don't fall down the pit as Fang. Okay, I'm good. Didn't fall down. We're okay. So what you saw I did on the train by using the 1-player 2 controller. Hello. Okay, that just took way too long to activate. When you... Really? And this is why we use high estimates when playing around with newer strats. I was hoping to get sub 50 at LEGOthon, but at this point it's not looking very likely. This is what I mean, though, that the back end of year 3 is an absolute gauntlet. If I line this up right, I should just be able to jump to the load zone. But this is the one other use that we have for the optimal file, as there's 2 characters who don't actually need earmuffs in order to lift the mandrakes. The hospital nurse as well as the Death Eater. For some reason, because of the cloak, his ears are fine. But that skips us having to get the earmuffs out of the wardrobe, which is like a 7-second time loss at least. Just don't want the disc to despawn. It has happened to me before and it made me cry. The disc literally just flickered out of existence and back up to the pedestal. So what you're going to see me do here is switch between the Crumb Shark and the Death Eater. That's because the Patronus Charm has an extremely high cooldown. and being able to spam Patronus is actually really broken. So I'm going to go for probably one of the more blind jumps in the game. I got it, first try, where you literally just, I call it almost like a Doom jumping your way over the Dark Tower. You kind of get one free attempt at that while the other character runs over. So if you miss it, it's not the end of the world. But it's not like it costs you time either. Just making silly mistakes with your character management does. And this is the only section where the Dementors will actually go after Fang, even though they can't do anything about him. For some reason, this is the one place. It is a great run, Fallon. You should come back to it. That's our year 3 done. We only have one left to go. It's been pretty solid for the most part, apart from little things here and there. So here we have to save all the Weasleys, but a lot of their problems they could probably just solve for themselves. Like being chased by fireworks, that's kind of lame.
Not exactly the most likely event.
Pardon, sorry?
I said not exactly the most life-endangering event.
No, not really.
But I mean, getting a table dropped on you is something that you probably couldn't push up yourself. But I mean, you're wizards. Come on, just use Accio.
Believe in magic, you muggles.
You live in an age of convenience. Just, you have so much available to you.
So, in this cycle right here, I want to get rid of the snakes as fast as possible so that the respawn timer on them is actually pretty low. Because waiting on those snakes to spawn is just a pain. It's slow, it's tedious, and you really just stand around, like you'll have to do in this final segment.
The thought that snakes, like, first appear in the second cycle is kind of strange to me, because it feels kind of like a step down from Death Eaters that can kill you, like, just by saying words.
I don't know, but would you really want us to go up against the 6 Arthur Weasleys?
That is fair.
That's a lot of ginger.
Very much. A lot of very, very smooth ginger hair.
A little clueless at times, but still very deadly. So, in story mode, they actually have a new, I think story mode, but maybe it's also replay story. They have a new strat for this, but what we do in free play is still faster just by fang jumping. They actually they levitate the boulder up to the top of the cage with the another player on it. It's crazy. I don't know how the heck they found it, but they did. It saves a lot of time in those categories, but still way slower than what we do here. So what we're going to do, here's a quick little clip out of bounds on the lower portion, but still staying inbounds enough that we can do that. I might still be on pace for a sub 50 run. I hope I am, but only the next 4 levels will tell. Wow, I just got sniped by the dragon. Collect the egg.
This game expects you to do a lot to get all the way over there, but here we just kind of glide a bit down to it and trigger the cutscene. This is a chase section. I'm not sure if you do death warps or not here.
No, there's no point in death warping actually. I think I've tested it out, but it's not really any faster. If the one fang if the secondary fang dies and gets put ahead of you, it's a little bit more of a random death warp that way. But you can't really bank on the randomness to really ever be in your favor.
Very Crash Bandicoot.
I know, Fallon, I have problems with my mic. So here in Secret of the Egg is going to be the last use of 1-player 2 controllers in free play at least. You'll see me use it again once we hit all bonus levels. So you want to position Hermione right there.
All bonus levels is probably the category I know the most about, which is pretty sad.
You can just literally clip through the bathtub.
This is the Myrtle level that we actually want, because she just kind of hangs out instead of attacking us and making the run a lot longer.
At least I didn't get Myrtle glitched earlier.
I feel like this is the only encounter in the entire game where violence is justified. You are pretty much trying to suffocate her. Oh, there you go. It's all fixed. It's fine.
I fixed her. It was a little dusty. But there's no reason to, there was a lot of fangs that were there in the water, not breathing.
So next up we have the water level, and it's actually a good water level. I know, crazy, right? There's a lot of clips here, and we get to use the greatest character of all time.
We don't get to...
Shark Crumb.
I was gonna say, we don't get to use
Not
Arthur
Shark
Weasley.
Crumb.
Arthur
Oh.
Weasley's the greatest character. He has that...
I don't know. I like Sharkhead Man.
Okay, yeah, it's...
So you're gonna see a lot of switching back and forward when not using
well, not
the
trying to clip out of
shark.
bounds.
And
because Fang still has his fastest movement even in the water.
We're going up a bit in order to avoid drowning. You know, there's still a death barrier at the bottom.
I think it's a really, really long one, but I want to just be able to clip back into bounds right over here. That's why I kind of want to just know where I am more than anything.
That's fair.
As long as you're past that second plane, you're not going to clip back in. This one you have to make sure you go low as to avoid getting caught in that jet stream, or else you soft lock and have to restart the level. There's literally nothing you can do.
You can kind of slip through that gate there, as we just saw.
There's no explicit rule that says you have to. However, just for chronological sake, we do complete the levels in complete order. It really doesn't make that whole lot of a difference, other than playing around with a couple chance values.
I mean, it could save time to do the first level last, like by a couple frames, because you're moving across the board less than if you were to just do the first level.
Run away from the mer people, they scare me.
Yeah, they're definitely the most terrifying mermaids I've ever seen in fiction, let alone young adult works.
But here we go, heading into this final level, the third task, where the return of Dark Lord Voldemort, who's actually a giant pushover.
You know, fun fact, that last level was the only Lego Harry Potter Lego set I ever owned. It was one where it was the final scene that we just saw there, where you're actually rescuing them from the mermaid. So I have those pieces somewhere. Anyways, this is a level that has a lot of fog, where you're supposed to go through them, otherwise you get set back. You have to make sure that the knight is there, because he's supposed to point to the direction that you're supposed to go through, but it's also just a requirement to move forward.
And it's a set path every time, there's no deviations. That was weird. I'm just gonna wait this cycle out, honestly. Just gonna give quick shoutouts, huge thanks to everybody who's been helping Glitch Hunt lately, everybody who's helped with the progression of World Record, including Harassme's new one at 4656.
It's a shame he couldn't be here today.
I already lamented that fact. Sadly, he's a Euro boy, and he has school in the morning.
Are Canadians just the only ones who don't have school right now?
I mean, we go until the end of June, that's our trade-off.
Yeah, I know. I prefer that, to be honest. I like still having the warmth. Because our school has no air conditioning.
I'm just going to quickly point out, on the final Voldemort hit, it's almost there, it'll be time, not quite yet, but once the final heart disappears.
This is the only level where that type of dueling is actually present. It's much more of a thing in LEGO Harry Potter 5 to 7 than it is in this game, but yeah, that's time. Sure is. What was that? I'm not watching the... I'll get the numbers for you.
It
if you don't have your
was
splits up.
48-24.